School child, we're back. Hope that all you guys are doing well. In today's tutorial I'll be breaking down how you can create these crazy 3D titles inside of After Effects, like how I did for the title of my new money overlays pack. I'll be going through everything step by step, not just the text but also the background and everything that you see in this thumbnail, and we will be using Element 3D for this title. But let's jump straight into After Effects and get into it. Real quick before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that we're running a huge Black Friday sale on my store. Like I just mentioned, I have a new pack out that dropped today, but not just that, we're also offering a buy one get one free, which means that if you add a pack to your cart, you'll be getting another one for completely free. And I have some crazy packs on the store right now for both After Effects and Premiere Pro. So if you've been thinking about getting a pack, I would highly recommend that you go and check it out right now, because this sale won't last for long and I barely do any sales on my store. So make sure to go and check that out. But let's jump straight into After Effects now. So we're in After Effects and I got my composition ready right here. And as you can see, my composition is a square because that's what I was working on for my thumbnail, and that's what I will be doing in this tutorial. It shouldn't matter too much, but the first step that I will be doing is adding a text layer, and in this text layer I'll be writing my title. So let's type out my title. I'll be typing 3D money, then press enter to go down, overlay pack. And I want the 3D money text to be bigger because that's essentially like the most important part. So I'll be sizing that up and sizing down the overlay pack text a little bit, and then drag it up so it isn't that much space in between them. And now if I size this down a little bit, this is what I got, and this is what I'll be working with. And the font that I'm using is Montserrat Extra Bold Italic. You can use a simple bold one, but I think that's a little bit boring. And now that we got that out the way, I'll be hiding my text layer and creating a new solid. Color doesn't matter. And I'll be going to my effects and presets panel and add on an element effect. And element is actually a plugin, but if you're interested in making 3D titles or anything in 3D inside of After Effects, I would highly recommend that you go and get it. So the first step that I'll be doing is going to my custom text and mask layer. Press your path layer 1 and select your text. And now we can head to the scene setup right here and press extrude right here, and now you should have your text in your scene. If you don't have your text in your scene, you might have not put the right path, so you can just select it right here. And now I'll be using some presets right here that you get that are and I'll be using Pro Shaders too, and I'll be using some presets to get some different looks of the title, but then I'll be customizing it myself. So you have a couple bevels that sometimes come with the element depending on where you're getting it. So I'll be just trying everything out to see if I find one that I like, and I think this one is pretty cool. It's kind of extruded, so you can have your text right here and then a fat outline on the back, and I like the look of that. So the next step will be to add some materials, and I'll be using Pro Shaders 2 for this one. And I'll be heading to metal and look for one that I like. So for the text, I decided to add this clean metal rough one, because you can see we're getting some textures right there, and that looks pretty good. And now for the outline, I'll probably be using a normal material, so I'll go with a blue paint. We can change the color to this to something else later on. And then I also added a chrome to the back. Now you can see we got these textures going on, and if you don't like the look of your textures, you can press your extrusion model right here and then scroll down to UV mapping, and you can size up your UV mapping, and that should give you a little bit better textures. But I'll be sizing it down a little bit too. And then I'll be heading to environment right here, and I'll be messing with the environment too to get something clean that I like. If you hold shift and mouse 1, you can drag your environment around to get different lights. But everything seems really dark right now, and I don't like the look of that. And I think this looks decent right now, so I'll be going out of my scene setup, and we can head to our group 1 right here. Or the first thing I want to do is actually size this up, so go to the world transform and mess with the scale to size it up to your liking. Now that I got my text right here, the first thing I want to do is add a camera, and I'm going to add a 28mm one. And then I'll be pressing group 1 right here, and then particle look, and inside of particle look we can head to multi-object and enable that one. Now we got a lot of different settings right here, and if you want some kind of rotation, you can mess with the random rotation to get some cool looks. I know a lot of people like to use this one. Since I'm just trying to do a clean thumbnail, I won't be using this one, but if you're doing like music video titles or something else, this could be really useful. But I will be heading down to the form right here, and I'll be selecting the bend and enable that one, and then we can mess with the bend angle to get something like this. I just turned it up to 20% and I'm happy with how that looks. Now I'm going to scroll to world transform and create a little X rotation right here, just so we can get some of that light from underneath. That will give us a little bit of a better look. And essentially, if you want any type of cool looking effects, you're going to look for them in the multi-objects right here. If you want to create some smooth animations or something like that, I would highly recommend that you check it right here and just mess with all of these settings, because you can really create some cool stuff right here. But I think I'm pretty happy with how it looks, since I'm going for a more simplistic style. And if you guys want a tutorial on some animated titles or something more advanced, let me know and I'll make sure to do that. But I'll head down to the render settings right here, and if you press lighting, you can add lighting, and here we got a lot of different presets. They really make a huge difference, so I'd highly recommend that you mess with these ones, because you can actually get something really good out of these. But I think that cinema looks good for me. Next up, I'll be adding in a new light, and I'll be using a point light. And as you can see right now, it's really bright and it's just hitting right on. So I'll be moving this one back a little bit. You can go to your other camera views, like custom view right here, and you can see where the light is. Here's the camera and here's the text. So I'll be moving the light a little bit to the side right here. And then go down to the settings right here, and I can actually change it to a point light. I think that would work a little bit better, because now we can change the point of interest right now, and we can move it a little bit to the text. So I'll be having the light from the side try to hit right on the text. This isn't really needed, but if you want some good lights, I would highly recommend that you mess with these. And then I'll be duplicating this light and then head to custom view 1 and try to get it on the exact opposite side, so we can get something that looks as clean as possible. And now I think it should look really good. A little too bright, but I think that the lights are hitting the right spots. So I'll just go down to the light options right here and turn them down. I'll do 40% for this one and 40% for the other one too. And you can also mess with the settings. You can use some green lights if you like, or whatever color you want, but I'll skip that for now. I'll maybe add it on later. And now to the text layer right here, I'll be adding some effects. I'll start off by adding a hue saturation, because I want a green outline of the text. So I'll be moving it till I get something that looks green. I think that's decent, and you can do this in the scene setup, but I didn't have any good looking green materials, so I just skipped that and decided to add it now. And next effect that I'll be adding on is a raise effect. I'll be using the sapphire one. There's the stock one right here that you can use too, but I prefer the sapphire one. I'll be turning up the raise length to max and turn down the brightness a little bit. Color to green. Something like this, not too much, just to get it matching. And then I'll be duplicating my layer 2 times and hide one of the duplications, and the bottom one I'll be sizing up and size it up to like 140, and right here I'll be turning down the opacity to like 10-15%, just so we have it right here in the background. And I can actually turn up the erase on this one because it won't be as visible. And then I'll be adding on a heat wave effect from universe. Turn up the heat intensity a lot. Let's do 80%, and then add on a turbulent displace, and I'll be turning down the size of it, and I'll also turn down the amount. And if you're making an animation, you can have these in the background and keyframe them, but since I'm just doing a kind of title, I'll keep it like this. Then I can unhide the hidden duplication, and the top one I'll be using as a kind of light. So I'll be adding on a deep glow just to get some extra glow onto my text. You don't have to use deep glow if you don't have it, because it's a plugin. You can use whatever glow you have, but I'll be using deep glow. So I'll start off by pressing this button right here to make it transparent, and then turn down the exposure by a lot, and then turn up the threshold, and then kind of stack the radius. And then I'll be messing with the opacity once again and just drag it down till I get something I like 30% looks good. And this is what it looks without the glow and with, so we just get some extra textures. And now onto the same layer with the glow, I'll be adding a curves. For this curve effect, I'll simply just drag down the lows and drag up the highs to get this S curve. And now if I hide it and unhide it, this is the difference that we get. Just to make the background less boring, I decided to drag on my money overlays, and I'll be finding a frame of them that looks good and just drag them straight onto the back so they're not as visible. And then I can mess with the opacity back here, turn it down a lot, and then I'll be adding on a grain effect onto them in the background. So just change the preview mode to final output and intensity to 2, and now I have something decent right there. And I'll duplicate it onto the second one too, so now it looks good back there. And I also decided to drag on one last to have in the front like this, just a couple of dollar bills in the front, not make them cover the title, so it looks good like this. And then I'll be adding some particles to the background. So I got a particle overlay from YouTube, and I'll be sizing it up, and then I'll add a deep glow to that and make it transparent. And then I'll be adding a fill effect and change it to green. And now I have some decent particles right here, and I'll be dragging it onto the background under the money. So I got it right there, and then I'll actually duplicate it and put one in the front, but this one will be sized up a lot, so I just got 1 or 2 right here, nothing too much. This is without and this is with, so that's just a little detail. And now I'm pretty happy with how it looks. It turned out really good. So 30 minutes later, and this is what we got. I'm really happy with how it looks, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll keep dropping heat for you guys. Like I said, make sure to check out the huge Black Friday sale on my store. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.